Hello everybody, we are talking about lines today. So our targets are I can write an equation of the line and I can graph a line. And today the form of the line we're going to talk about is the point slope form of a line. Now there's a bunch of different ways that we can write lines that all represent the same line. And today we're going to start with one of the basic and the most important ones, because this is going to help us write any line in different forms depending on what information we get off a graph. So the point slope form of a line is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The m is going to be the slope of the line. Sometimes we'll be given it, sometimes we'll have defined it, and then we'll have x1 comma y1 as a point. So because we can see the point in a slope, that's why they call it the point slope form. You'll notice the names for the forms of the line are very, very uncreative and unoriginal. And the reason that's so good is because you can figure out exactly what information you're being given and what you'll be able to use. So let's start doing some problems. We're going to write an equation of the line through the point 2, 1 with the slope of 8. So let's label what we have. We know that our point slope form is the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And let's take our point, let's label the x1 and the y1, and then our slope is going to be the m. Now one thing we have to remember and be careful of, because of the minus signs in the equation, the points as far as the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate, they're going to show up as the opposite of what they are when we put them in the equation. So let's go ahead and plug these in. So I have y, because I have positive 1 in my point, it's going to be minus 1 in my equation, equals, the slope is 8, and then x, since I have positive 2 as my point, I'm going to have minus 2 in my equation. So my line is y minus 1 equals 8 times the quantity x minus 2. And that's my equation of the line, and that's it. You can remember that. You're going to be in good shape. You'll be able to do all sorts of things with it. Alright, second one. We're going to write an equation of the line through the points negative 6, 1 and negative 5, 4. Now, you might be like, okay, I can see a point, but where's my slope? How am I supposed to do this? Well, since we don't have the slope, we're going to have defined it first. Do a little extra work. So, let's use our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'll take my second y, which is 4, and subtract my first y, which is 1. So there's my change in y's, or my rise. And then I'll take negative 5, which is my second x, and subtract negative 6, which is my first x. The double negative is going to make it addition. So my slope's going to be 3 over 1, or 3. So there's m. Now all I need to do is take one of the points and put it into my point slope equation. So I actually have two different options that I could use for this. I could use the point negative 6, 1. So I could do y minus, because it's positive 1 in the point, it's going to be minus 1 in the equation. So y minus 1 equals, my slope is 3, so that goes in for m. And then x, since I have negative 6 as my point, plus 6 goes in my equation. So y minus 1 equals 3x plus 6, or if I use negative 5, 4 as my other point, I could also write y minus 4 equals 3 times x plus 5. Both lines would be exactly the same thing, and so we have two acceptable answers, two equations for the same line. Okay, next one. Let's say we're given a picture for this one. Well, I could label the 2 points and then do the slope formula. If you like the slope formula better, then label the 2 points first and find the slope that way. Let's also remember, though, that the slope is equal to the rise over the run. And so if I read left to right, looking at my 2 points, from the left point, I have to go down 3. Because I have to go down 3, that makes my rise negative 3. And then I go 1 to the right, so that makes my run 1. So my slope is negative 3 divided by 1, or negative 3. Now, let's just take one of the points. I'll use this one. So let's count. There's 3 for the x. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for my y. So there's x1 and y1. And so, plugging into my point-slope equation, I have y, since it's positive 6, minus 6 goes in. My slope is negative 3. And since positive 3 is my x, minus 3 goes in the equation. So I have y minus 6 equals negative 3 times the quantity x minus 3. So that's how we write the equations. Now let's look at what happens when we get the equation and have to make the graph. So first we're going to graph the line y plus 4 equals negative 3 times the quantity x minus 3. And let's remember, point-slope form gives us a point and it gives us a slope. So first, let's do the point. And I have to remember, here's my minus y1, here's my minus x1, and I need to remember that the numbers in my equation for the x1 and y1 are going to be opposite of what I see in my point. So since minus 3 is in my equation for x1, 3 is going to be the x-coordinate of my point, and since plus 4 is in the equation for my y1, negative 4 is going to be the point. The other thing we know is the slope. Our slope is negative 3. And let's make that a fraction so that we can do our rise over run. So my slope's negative 3 over 1. That means every time I'm going to go down 3 for my rise, and I'm going to go 1 over for my run. So let's graph the point 3, negative 4. So 3, negative 4. And then my slope tells me to go down 3 and 1 over. So let's go down 1, 2, 3 and 1 over. And I'll just do it maybe 1 or 2 more times. And then I can just connect my line. That's all there is to it. Identify the slope and identify the point, and then just use that information in order to graph. Okay, one more. Let's do y minus 5 equals 2/5 times the quantity x minus 1. So again, let's identify our point, taking the opposites of what I see in the equation. My point is going to be +1, +5. My slope is 2/5. Since it's positive, I'm going to have a rising line. So every time my y's or my rises on top. So I'll go up 2, and I will run 5. So let's put our point down at 1, 5. Let's just do a couple of our rises and runs. So up 2, 1, 2 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then up 2 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Connect it. And there's our graph. So as long as you can remember that the points are opposite from what you see in the equation, keep your x's and y's straight, and as long as you can rise and run correctly using your slope, you'll start becoming a pro at graphing and writing equation lines in no time. So that's it for now. Now you need to go practice.